Battery drains can drive you absolutely insane, and when it gets really bad, you have to get a technician involved. That's what's going on with this one. Let's find out what it was. Let's get started. This is a 2003 GMC Yukon Denali. It is the Denali package. And the customer says the battery keeps going dead, and they say something's draining the battery. They've tried a few other things, and they're just at their wits' end. They actually drove from quite a ways away, 4 or 5 hours away. They're like, here it is, get it solved. This is driving me literally insane. I've learned over the years, you can have mechanics who have been working for a couple years. A battery drain can even drive them insane. You really need to understand, kind of like with me, I can 3D visualize entire systems of the car in my mind and go, okay, this is this circuit, that's that circuit. You need to really have an electronics technician take a look at battery drains, because you can run in circles for literally a whole week. I've seen it. I've seen a person spend every day for 5 days and still not get to the bottom of it. Let's take a look around this Yukon, and we're going to dive in and show you some really cool tools I have that you guys can buy on our Amazon affiliates link that really takes a lot of time out of the equation. So this Yukon Denali is in decent shape. It is probably a work vehicle or daily driver. It is not museum quality. It's got some dents and dings on it. You can see the birds have been playing target practice on it. It does have some Hercules tires on it. And as we come around to the back, you can see Yukon XL. This is the Denali package, and as we go around to the other side, you can see way up there on the passenger door it says Denali, and you can still see a few dents or dings there as well. Let's go under the hood. I love working on cars, and I'm honored to have customers that trust me to repair their vehicles. Finding good service in any industry these days is getting hard. So just like my customers depend on me, I rely on Reolink. Reolink has been a dependable sponsor on this channel for over a year, and I really love their security cameras. Their Elite Floodlight Wi-Fi watches the side of my shop. I have a Reolink Argus PT Ultra camera monitoring the front of my shop. Their Reolink Dual 3 Wi-Fi camera watches over the interior of my shop. If something moves in the shop after hours, it immediately alerts me. I have Reolink cameras monitoring our house in New Mexico and my house here in town. I have their new 2-in-1 floodlight camera watching my backyard. That's right, it replaces a standard boring outside light with a floodlight light that has dual lens security camera. I can control how bright I want the light and the color temperature. You can also choose the light to turn on when dark or motion activated. I like my light to be extra bright and motion activated. The camera monitors for people, vehicles, and animals. Their app notifies me when a motion is detected and records it on a micro SD card. Here's a few trespassers we caught. Their super cool AI search tool makes sorting through footage very simple. I just search bald man and it shows me all the times this sketchy character has been in my yard. Plus, when the system detects motion, it follows it. The second camera even zooms in to get better picture recording until it's out of sight. No more small, hard to see image. What I love about their cameras is that I'm in control. The app is very powerful and controls everything. I control when it records, where it monitors, how it notifies you, and plays back recorded events. It even alerted me when a fox ran through the lot. My favorite is just being able to live view my cameras anytime I want. And the cameras don't require any subscriptions. You buy the camera and you're set. Capture life's moments, not just intruders. Shop now using my link or by scanning the QR code. Now back to this Yukon. So here we are under the hood. We can see, since it's the Denali package, it has the Vortex 6000 6-liter V8. These are very good engines. They have good power, and they're not the greatest on gas, but they're not terrible either. I really am a big fan of the Vortex 6-liter. It's really, really good engine. As with any of the LS-based engines, the 4.8, the 5.3, the 6.0, they're all very similar in architecture, and they're very easy to work on. Water pumps, alternator, power steering pumps, all these things are so easy to work on this car. But we don't have any trouble with that. The trouble we're having is the customer every day or two is coming out to a dead battery. They put a new battery in and that doesn't solve anything, and they were literally pulling their hair out. I don't have much hair to pull out, but they were pulling their hair out. So before we dive into how you figure out what it is that's draining your battery, let's let Mrs. Wizard show you guys around the interior of this Denali.
Okay, ladies and gents, there you go. 171,298 miles. And whew, that's a quick little light there, but love all the gauge clusters. As we get to our dash, everything is looking very nice. Got a nice ivory kind of design to it. Got a little grab bar there at the top of the passenger seat. Got our center section. We've got some lovely faux wood trim going around the edges. They have upgraded their stereo to a Sony system. Simple to read and use HVAC system. And we move down. We can see a little bit of, spots where the paint's come off. But, it opens up. They've got the remote for that stereo system. And they've got a nice spot there to charge with. So, okay, looking good. And as we move back, you'll see that we have a spot for an ashtray and cup holders. They do have covers over them, but there's things in the way with pins and their stuff, so we're not going to move that. Get to our center section here. And we have a door that opens this way, and not overly convenient for the passenger, but very good for the driver. And yeah, I can definitely tell they are having some issues here. Definitely stressed. We've got some Tums in there. Not so sure about the salt and pepper, but hey, it's your car. You do what you want. The seat is actually quite comfortable, almost like a sofa, feeling nice, pretty comfortable here. Got an armrest that does fold down, but goes smooth into the actual seat, so it doesn't actually protrude and get in your way. We can see the door card does have a lighter and a darker sections to our ivory coloring, but all in good condition. Because this is a Denali and built on a truck platform, there is a lot of space back there. We have two captain's chairs back there. Not so sure where their headrests are. Oh, wait, there they are. They're on the floor. But we have two spots back there for Fido and Dino, I guess. The dog can hang out with them. The headliner looking good. So here we are back at the steering wheel, and one thing you may have noticed, it could have been a battery drain. I don't know if you noticed it or not, but let's go back over. Ooh, this guy. These are great ways to drain your battery sometimes. Not always. Sometimes it's safe to leave them plugged in, but sometimes they are a draw. And this one looks like it might have a light that turns on when it is actually being used. So, okay, this one probably isn't the draw, but hey, if you're having a battery drain, check what you have plugged into all those ports. They could be the culprit, but back at our steering wheel, lots of buttons that we're used to seeing, but let's get this up in the air, see what it looks like on the underneath, like with 171,000 miles on it.
Okay, let's check for leaks and see what we got going on here. We have a plastic shield here that kind of hides the radiator area, but I don't see any antifreeze or anything leaking. Here's our front differential. There's the bottom of our 6-liter. We do see a tiny bit of seepage from the oil pan, but nothing that's worth a big teardown or anything. Check out these wheels. Brakes are about 70 to 80% remaining. CV boots are good. It's got a little bit of grease popping out there, but nothing warranting any kind of a replacement yet. Nothing loose there. Sway bar link is good, and the shock is not blown. And we check this side. Brakes are 70 to 80% remaining. The shock is not blown. It looks fairly new. CV boots are good. Sway bar link is good, and nothing loose there. We do see a tiny bit of seepage coming from our oil drain. We're going to do an oil change on it here. We'll put a new little washer on and take care of that. Transmission, it's not leaking. If it hasn't been serviced by now, we're not going to. At about 125,000 miles, that's about the limit. When we start getting to 50 and 75 range, we just don't mess with it, because trust me guys, I've seen transmissions ruined by doing a simple service. I've seen it with my own eyes. Check this drive shaft here. Nothing loose there. We do see a tiny oil leak coming from our oil cooler gasket there. We'll let the customer know about it. I have been able to cinch up the bolts and get that to stop. We may just do that this time. And we'll be soon, like I said, doing the oil change, taking care of that nasty oil filter. Here's our transfer case. Everything looks good. It's not leaking. These have been known on some of the earlier models to actually the chain to rub through the case, and it'll start leaking fluid, and you have to take it all apart and put new case halves on it. But this one looks happy. Here's our rear drive shaft. Nothing's loose. Stock exhaust. Big fuel tank. Differential is nice and dry. Nothing leaking. There's some condensation water dripping from the muffler. That's normal. This did have the air ride system in the back, or load leveling. It looks like it's been deleted. It just has standard shocks in place of it. And you can see the connector here that used to plug into it. It's just been cut. This is one of the air lines and also some wiring that used to go to this shock. It's been disabled. I don't see any oil leaks or anything. Brakes are about 30% remaining. They've still got some life left. Brakes are the same over here. Again, the shock's been replaced. It's been changed over to normal shocks. I don't see anything leaking over here and nothing loose. And both sway bar leaks are good. Tire's got air in it, nice and full of air, so that's good. Let's check the date codes on those tires. These have a little life left in them. That's 26 of 21, and they are some Hercules TerraTrax HPTs. They got quite a bit of tread left on them, so yeah, go ahead and use those tires. They look good. Let's get this thing on the ground. So when you have a big battery drain, you don't go chasing things and unplugging stuff and trying to mess around with stuff. Where you start at is the fuse box. Some vehicles can have multiple fuse boxes, some can have some under the dash, some in the rear. Most everything is right here on a GM product under the hood. Sometimes there can be some on the dash, but luckily this does pretty much all the car here. You can use an amp meter and kind of hook it between the battery and the amp meter and start pulling fuses until the draw goes away. But one thing that we have here is called the Amp Hound. It's on our Amazon affiliates link. If you want to buy one, it's listed there for sale. You just turn it on, and you don't have to remove any fuses. You just go to each fuse on the top of it where it has exposed metal and measure the amperage, like this. So you can see on the top of each fuse there's little metal contacts, and you can touch them, and it tells you there's no draw there. We can go over to here, no draw there, go to here, nothing going on there. One place we found a draw is with the radio, and I'll go ahead and test its fuse now. Almost 1/4 of an amp, that's pretty heavy. And basically you just go down the line and check every single fuse and take note of what you find. It should be less than 0.05. I didn't say 0.5, it's 0.05 amp draw or less on a healthy car. We just saw 0.2, not 0.02, but 0.2, almost the same amount of amperage as one of those tiny license plate bulbs. A little peanut bulb is what they're called. That's almost the amperage draw of a light bulb. So we found the amp draw with the radio, almost 1/4 of an amp. That's pretty heavy. And if you watch Mrs. Wizard's interior review, which you really should have, you'll notice that it has an aftermarket radio in it. It's not the stock radio. Something's gone wrong with that radio. It never stops drawing amperage. Also, Mrs. Wizard showed you guys in there that accessories can also draw, like cigarette lighter or auxiliary port type things where you plug in to charge your phone, or you're charging cameras, or whatever it is you're charging. Those things can kill your battery. Make sure those are unplugged before you start diving in too deep. So you go ahead, you unplug the fuse for the radio and say, hey, we're good, we got it. You close the hood, you go drive to work, and you come back out and it's dead again. You need to check every single fuse. I know it's annoying and it's time consuming, but there may be more than one draw. The radio was by itself is enough to kill a battery in a day or two, very easily. But we found another draw. I'm not going to plug it back in right now. But if you guys remember when we were underneath the vehicle, you saw that the air ride system had been deleted and standard shocks had been put in place of it. That system was drawing power. They didn't fully delete it and unplug the compressor and unplug the control module and all those things. It was pulling 1/2 of an amp. So combine 1/2 an amp with 1/4 of an amp of the radio, almost an amp. That'll kill a battery in 8 or 9 hours. You can come out from a long day at work, a 10-hour day at work, it may or may not start. So we found the draws, and this tool right here saved so much time and a lot of headaches. You take this tool, you go to your fuse box, and within 5 or 10 minutes, you can find where on your whole car is the draw doing its damage to your battery. So again, go check out Mrs. Wizard's interior review. You can see the aftermarket radio and also has some accessories plugged in. Luckily, we didn't have issues with the accessories on this vehicle, but 2 items, the radio and the air ride system, which although it's been deleted, it's still sitting there drawing power from the battery. It refuses to go to sleep. It refuses to shut down. Probably because its wires have been cut and it's like, what the hell's going on here? In an emergency, you can just pull that fuse until you can get it to a shop and get it figured out or what you want to do. So what do you do from here? Where do you go from here? You need to decide what you want to do with your radio. We told them just to go to a radio shop, pick out their favorite fancy radio, whatever it is they want to do to have in their car, and have them install it. That will solve the radio issue. The aftermarket one in there is not going to sleep, and it's just perpetually draining the battery. The air ride system, we're just going to leave the fuse unplugged. Like I mentioned ago, I'm not going to plug it back in. This system's been deleted. It's dead. We don't need it anyways. So pull the fuse and do not put it back in. That solves the air ride system. A new radio solves the other draw. So you guys love crazy stories, and I have one for you. Years ago, a shop I was working at, a customer brought in their 94 Cadillac DeVille. As an older gentleman, and he had been a mechanic for a few years in his life. He'd worked on a few cars. He thought he could figure it out. And this is the one at the beginning of the video I told you he spent 5 solid days tracing things, unplugging things. He had his dash apart. He had his door panels off. He had all kind of stuff, craziness, apart. He finally brought it to us, dropped off the key, and he said, "I'm done, bro. I'm about to jump off a cliff. This is crazy. I don't know where to go. I don't know what to do. It's still drawing. I have all these things unplugged." And I'm telling you guys, a battery drain, if you're not trained to find these issues, will drive you clear up the wall. It's bad. It can get really bad. So the owner of that shop said, "Here, Dave," which I wasn't the car wizard at that time. He said, "See if you can figure it out. Here's a challenge for you." It took me a few hours, and I found it. I had something similar to the amp hound. I went through, checked all the fuses, and I found a 2 amp draw on the horn circuit. So I went to check the horns and see what's going on there. They're unplugged. I was like, well, how is it drawing? They're unplugged. So I plugged in the horns, and they wouldn't stop honking. It was just, for the kingdom come, forever. It would never stop. Someone just unplugged them. But the clock spring was bad, and it was short-circuiting and having a draw in the steering column. Someone unplugged the horn, and you never would know. You would be none the wiser. You would never know. The customer came to pick it up. We showed him. I plugged in the horn, unplugged it, and told him it needs a clock spring. It'll take care of it. And he was like, "I would have never got that. I would have never got that." I was like, "I know. That's why you take it to a shop. Yes, it's going to be expensive. They might spend 4 hours of labor, not fixing it, but figuring out what's wrong. You spent 5 days trying to figure it out." So these Yukons or Tahoes and things of this year are really good vehicles. This one's at 171,000 miles. It probably has another 100,000 miles to go easily, as long as it's maintained and taken care of. These vehicles go and go and go. I've mentioned in the past 20, 24, 25 vehicles. Lexus and Toyota are still the best, but even they are starting to have trouble now. And other than that, I really cannot recommend a brand new car to buy. A lot of people are starting to buy these older ones and fix them up because it's way cheaper than a car payment. Today's car payments are $1,200, $1,500 a month for cars, and people are like, "No, I'm not doing that." A year's worth of car payments can almost buy one of these. So, yes, these are very, very reliable. They're very easy to work on, very good vehicles. So I definitely wanted to get a video out to you guys today to show you how battery drains really should be left to the professionals. Unless you can, you have a few ideas and you find it or something, but if it starts getting really complicated, just stop. Take it to a shop that has an electronics specialist who can dive in. Within a few hours, they can usually find it, and it's way cheaper than losing days and days and taking all stuff apart. And if you're somewhat mechanically inclined, like I just showed you, you could get that little amp hound and go to work with your fuse box and find it yourself. Hopefully that helps you guys out with battery drains. This one was just, we're going to unplug the fuse and the customer's going to get their own radio and take care of it. That's what they said. We're going to do an oil change on it here, and this car will be leaving. Definitely wanted to get a video to show you guys how difficult it can be if you don't have the right tools. If you're curious what kind of tools we're using to work on this, just like the amp hound or any other car in the shop there's tools we use on tons of cars in the shop that are tried and true, listed for sale in our Amazon affiliates link in the description below. If you purchase anything there, we get a small cut and really appreciate it. Make sure to hit the subscribe button because we have so many more good videos to come. Thanks for watching.